What up, world? Welcome to another episode of the F2 podcast, the Father Figure Podcast. I'm Reggie George, the CEO and founder of the Father Figure Movement, man. We happy to be back. Got my co-host with me, man, my boy Deonte Miller. What up, D?
What's up? What's up, Reg? Man, it's good to be back, man, for another episode of the Father Figure Podcast. We just doing it, man, one step at a time, one day at a time, man, for all you fathers out there.
Yes, indeed, man. We extremely excited about this episode, man. We got some very, very special guests. Really, the foundation of the Father Figure Movement, the foundation of my fatherhood movement. Really, the adversity that everything spawned from is sitting here with us, man. So
Right.
I want to introduce the twins, man, Kennedy and Kamden. Y'all say hello to the world.
Hi.
Hey, they nervous, they scared, man. We've been trying to get them on since we started. But again, man, I'm extremely excited to have them here, man. Just because publicly, this is the first time really all three of us really get to discuss what we've been dealing with over the last 8, 9, 10 months, man. So I'm excited about that. Girls, y'all excited?
Yes.
Yeah.
You sure or scared?
Both.
Hey, Reg, I got to say this, though. I just said it, though, but I remember when these girls was little girls, man, and they was playing with my baby, and now they all grown up, man. Bruh. Beautiful young ladies, man, and bruh, I don't know what you gonna do, dog.
Hey, I'm telling you. And they just turned 14 on the 7th, and I'm seeing them, man, with their hair straightened and they little eyelashes on. They have some eyelashes on. And I'm seeing them, man, and I'm thinking like, man, my babies done got grown. But they beautiful babies, man, and I wouldn't want anything else, you know what I'm saying? So I had to just deal with having beautiful babies. But getting right into it, man, we really we're gonna kind of set the clock back a little bit and kind of remind the world where the movement came from. May 20th, 2019, we got the call that, and Kennedy actually made the call, that Kamden had gotten stabbed in the head by a little boy at school with a pair of scissors, which really set everybody's world, especially in our family, everybody's world really set it upside down, man. Right. It was a day that obviously we'll never forget, but it changed the dynamic of our family as a whole. Right. You know what I'm saying? And even as I'm telling it, man, you probably can't even imagine half of this just because Kamden's sitting here and Kennedy's sitting here.
It's a blessing, bruh.
But she's had to undergo 2 brain surgeries, man. She had a massive stroke, learn how to walk, talk, read, write, everything, man. And from Kennedy's standpoint, man, they were in the cafeteria. Kennedy had to witness everything. Kennedy had to psychologically deal with a lot, just seeing her sister in ICU, seeing her sister fight for her life, and psychologically dealing with having to do a lot of things that she's never had to do. You know what I'm saying? Right. They even before we walked over here, man, they'll be into it, and they'll tell you, man, they don't sleep apart, they don't eat apart, they don't nothing, man. You know, as often as they might get into it, there's a lot. Well, really, 99% of their life, they've done everything together. So for Kennedy, man, I was as concerned for Kennedy as I was Kamden, because it's hard to have, at the time, my 13-year-olds try to make the transition through adversity,
right?
But do it having a twin sister,
right? Well, let me ask you this, Reg. Now that you got your girl sitting right here, and not to speed it up, you know, we'll go back in time and kind of revisit a little bit what happened, but how does it make you feel at this moment to see your baby sitting here healthy and whole?
man, it's, I don't even know if grateful is a powerful or strong enough word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And D, you know, man, just literally not seeing her walk and talk, and man, it's even surreal to even play it back, man. We 9 or 10 months into this thing, man, and it's like, did it really happen?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what I want to ask, man, and I've never really asked them publicly, whoever want to go first, how do y'all feel being here today? The same question that Mr. D just asked. And we're going to go backwards and we're going to revisit how we dealt with all that. But how does it make you feel to be here healthy and whole today?
I'm grateful, and that
It's okay.
It's all right, baby girl.
Go ahead, baby.
so I can see my sister again. I could play basketball again. And God is good.
That's a fact.
How you feel?
I feel like I have the other half of me again. Because whenever I couldn't be with my sister, all like throughout the day, every day, it was hard. I felt like I had a half of me missing.
And man, that's just a testament to kind of what Cam just said, brother. She a walking miracle. And I'm gonna just go there for a minute. If y'all don't believe out there that God is real, all you gotta do is look at this baby right here. And she's a blessing, she's a miracle, she's an inspiration to a lot of people because essentially she's not supposed to be sitting here right now. So to have her here right now, words can't even put that into perspective. And for you, Reg, I know as a father, again, I never went through anything like that. But as a father, I can only imagine gratefulness is an understatement.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Having your babies here, whole, healthy, and able to even share, you know what I mean, what even happened. You know what I'm saying? So, bruh, this is huge, man. It's huge.
And it's huge in the fact that people don't understand the reason why all of this came to fruition is because outside of the hospital, outside of therapy, outside of this becomes counseling for us.
Right.
Man, I love really, and we'll talk about it here in a second, but I love hearing their perspective on how they dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what kind of, and especially us as fathers, man, you know, that's really what solidifies us as fathers, because a lot of those messages and a lot of those talks and those speeches that you give, man, I got to see a lot of that stuff come out firsthand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and we're gonna start again with Kamden. So Cam, tell the world, and we already know we've already given God all of the credit, but from your perspective, Kennedy, when it comes to me being you guys' father, how do you think that helped y'all deal with the whole situation?
They gotta look at each other and nod.
Right.
You go.
Right, your turn. You go.
I always felt like I always had somebody to talk to if I was feeling down. I know I could talk to my mom, but I feel like my dad understood more. And if he was going through something, I could talk to him. And if I was going through something, he could always talk to me. And I just feel like we made each other feel better during the whole situation.
Is there a certain feeling of protection that you guys get from your father being there?
Yes.
Like you feel like everything gonna be all right?
Mm-hmm.
I know. Because I'm a man and I felt like that with my dad. Like when your mama gonna always love on you and do all that stuff, but when daddy come, it's something totally different. Like you just know everything gonna be all right. And I can only imagine, obviously, Kennedy. So I told you, bro, they done grew up on me. I gotta remember. I gotta remember trying to figure them out.
So just throw your hand out there and like you point.
Just going through that with your dad. I'm sure that brought y'all closer together. You know what I mean? Being there together for your sister with your mom. And then for you, Cam, tell me kind of how that felt for you when you kind of came around.
Every time I do something like another surgery, my dad already like calmed me down because like my first one I was scared, and then when I was going into the surgery, I was like my dad was right there, and I was like, it'll be okay.
Yeah, man, it's just something about like we talk about being present, not perfect. The presence of a father is huge in any situation, but more or less this one just kind of magnifies it even more to the 10th power because, again, with mama being there, that's expected. But you being there in that critical moment as a father, man, your girls had something to anchor to.
And D, you're 100% right, man, because a lot of times being that anchor is what makes fathering difficult for some fathers. That's what makes you want to. Like we always talk about, that make you want to jump off that island and get back on the boat because being the anchor sometimes is difficult. A lot of times it's difficult. But like I always say, in adversity, man, that's when you really want to show up as the ultimate anchor. And that's what especially in my situation, my scenario, man, that's what made me proud is that I already knew the whole 13 years, man. I had shown my girls or given them the message to say we battle tested. You know, even in doubt, even in not understanding, in your lack of understanding, man, I knew that they were battle tested, man. One thing I told everybody who was in the waiting room when she had her first surgery is that don't doubt her strength.
Right.
Because I know how they built, because I built them. And not to say that egotistically and not to take any credit from God, but I'm saying after the miracle of birth, after God gave them to us, man, I understood my job is to make them strong.
Yeah.
And even going back to the story with Kennedy, man, me and Kennedy, and she right, because one of the hardest things I had to do over the summer, because we have a basketball organization. Shout out to SE Elite. But one of the hardest things I had to do was coach a game without Cam. But I understood I had to do that for Kennedy. And man, it was so therapeutic. And I could tell it was for her, and I'll let her speak on it herself. But that was probably one of the biggest reliefs and one of the biggest therapeutic moments throughout this whole thing, because I did get to share that with Kennedy, and it really gave us the opportunity to bond, but it gave us the opportunity to say, okay, we can do this. You know?
Yeah.
What y'all think? So let me ask y'all this. In the midst of everything, the beginning and the middle and in the end, what do you remember? Is there anything specific that y'all remember about having your daddy there, making sure that was there times that you might have looked up and saying where's daddy or what? Just tell the world some stories about what it means to have a dad in really every day, but in the worst times and the best times.
Y'all tell some good stories now, so he can go and hook y'all up with some more shoes.
You see, they got podcast sneakers on today.
I already know. One, two, break.
Tell them about rehab. Do you remember what you remember about rehab?
Oh, there was one time that every time I was in my wheelchair, I would be sad in my wheelchair because I couldn't walk, and so every time I would like try to change my wheelchair in like a sports car. Every time we did that. Every time I was in my wheelchair, I would feel happy because my dad was right there. And he would tell me that we'll be home soon.
Yeah. And you believe that too. I know you did. It's something about a father, man. Like, I mean, you could talk about the spiritual father, you could talk about the physical father, man. When they tell you it's gonna be okay, you believe it. You just know in your heart it's gonna be all right. No matter what it looked like, no matter where at that moment in time, you just know that it's gonna be all right, man. And you can tell that with your kids, even at a young age,
right.
Even how they gravitate to their fathers. I look at Kendall now, and y'all ain't even met Kendall yet, but Kendall, she too, man, and I don't care what happened. It could be she hungry, where my daddy? I ain't even at the house, where my daddy? Or I fall, where's my daddy? Mm-hmm. And it ain't gonna go away. The older y'all get, y'all still gonna say, where's my daddy?
And that's real. And that's a proud feeling for fathers. You know what I'm saying? Like kids don't know that, but to all the fathers in the world, man, that's a feeling that you don't want to leave this earth never enjoying that feeling. Kennedy, tell them about quit jumping. You scared?
I didn't
ain't
know you
living
gonna
right.
hit me.
Said you ain't living right.
Tell them about me going back out back and dunking on everybody. Y'all don't nobody remember that, huh?
No, he did not dunk on everybody. He dunked on one person.
I dunked on everybody that came back.
Tell the truth for me. Tell the truth. Because your daddy be in the shop telling these stories, and I need some witnesses.
You dunked on, who you dunked on? You dunked on Jaden, and that was it.
I dunked on you. I
No,
dunked on
don't do that.
Jada.
You didn't
I
dunk
dunked
on
on
me.
Bryce. So D, they got this little 8-foot boy in the back of the hospital.
Oh, man.
And that was our little getaway.
Yeah.
But man, I used to love like the kids come, all their friends, man, and all their cousins, all their friends. I'm just telling them like, look, come on to the back, see who next, who up next. I'm dunking on everybody. But even that, and her Kamden stroke shut the entire right side of her body down. But her perseverance and her strength, man, we would go back out there to that goal, man, and she would, in her wheelchair, be shooting with her left hand. And to me as a father, man, that says a lot about who my girls are.
Yeah.
That take a lot. People don't know that for a right hand dominant kid, and Cam can stroke that thing. She can shoot it, but to make the transition and say, you know what, I'ma still go out here and take this on the chin, and I'ma shoot this ball with my left hand.
Right.
And was getting buckets with her left hand.
Yeah.
Right? To not let a wheelchair deter you, to not let a stroke. Man, that's beyond description, man. And as a father, I know that a lot of our bond, and that's why I relate to Kobe and a lot of cats like that, man, because a lot of our bond comes through basketball.
Yeah.
Even in rehab, like when they were trying to get her right arm really back activated, what did they do? What was the first thing that you remember doing up and down the hallway?
Dribbling with the ball.
So they even understood that a lot of her psyche was gonna come through basketball, man, because they came and ran and got me like, Dad, come in here. And I heard the ball, but I was asleep. And they like, I hear crossing over through the hallway of the rehab center.
Yeah.
And man, it just and again, no slight to mama, no slight to my wife, but those are dad moments.
Yeah. Yeah. Girls, let me ask you a question. Now that you guys we just gonna say it, you've overcome this together. And I know you're only 14, so you're still young in your life. You got a whole lot to experience. But now, just with this situation, what's your outlook on life now? Do you feel like more like you don't take things for granted, and like your relationship, you know, you and your sister fight all the time, or not all the time, but y'all get into it. I know y'all had y'all little moments or whatever, but do you just find yourself feeling like no matter what, me and my sister, me and my dad, we got to always stick together? And whether y'all know it or not, as you get older, you'll be able to draw back from this experience, and it's going to help give you strength to get through some more challenges in life, because guess what, baby girl? It's going to be some more.
Life always happening.
Yeah.
Life always happening. And that's the biggest thing, man, is even like we said on the last podcast, man, when they turned 14, it was more of a celebration of life. It wasn't about shoes or stuff. And even though they enjoyed all that stuff, man, and I see it and I hear it on them, man, they just appreciate being able to be here. You know what I'm saying? Now we into, and I'm finna embarrass them a little bit. Now we into who got a boyfriend and who don't.
I was going to get to that, but I'm going to let you talk about it a little bit.
Look, everybody hands and what? I can't hear nothing. So tell them how you told me. Tell them how you told me about your boyfriend.
Me?
Yeah, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Tell them.
We was at Red Lobster. And Kamden ratted me out, but I was like, Dad, I got something to tell you. And Kamden was laughing the whole time. And then, what did I say? I was like, no, that was...
Well, let me do the setup. Them and they mama, I know this. I ain't gonna let Tiffany slide. But I think they set me up in a public place
On purpose.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna tell him at Red Lobster so he don't act a fool. And you know, Kennedy gave me a little spiel, and bro, the whole time Kamden is falling out laughing. Like, oh man, he gonna kill you. Cause Kennedy had tried to set me up a couple weeks before. Like, Dad, you know, I know I've been talking about a boyfriend, but what do you think about a boyfriend and boyfriend? So I knew
She's smart.
she was trying to give me the body blows before she hit me.
She gonna
in the
plant that real quick.
Right. So now we fast forward to last week.
Oh, you got a boyfriend. Well, y'all tripping. Hey, they be plotting, bro.
You gonna see it. You embarrassed?
No.
Tell me, did your sister rat you out?
Yeah, it was revenge. She was not finna go out like that.
Tell them what you told me. How tall is it?
4'11".
Oh man.
It's not 4'11" no more.
Oh
He
man.
taller than that?
Yeah, it's her shoulder. No, how tall are you? What, 5'4"? Yeah, he like 5'2". No, he's 4. No, 5'2".
With shoes on?
Shoes up. But man, again, the podcast, the movement, the apparel, everything, man, is really about this dialogue, man. You know what I'm saying? The moments that most of us as fathers don't really get to hear about. We don't get publicized all the time, man. But those moments with Bryce, those moments with Kendall, that people don't understand, build your kids up and create their character, man. See, like what we're talking about right now is the character of my girls. You know what I'm saying? Like, proud. I'm so far beyond proud of their resilience, man. But a lot of that comes from me already knowing who they are, because of the roadmap I kind of put out there for me and their mama. But when it comes to, and this we was talking about on the podcast last week too, that father-daughter bond is different because it's easy to go out there and be tough on Bryce. It's easy to go out there and because you raising a boy into a man, so you have to get him ready for manhood. See, with girls it's different, man, because you kind of have to ride the line a little bit with
finesse it, bro.
You got to really finesse it, D. That's a great word because. And I'm gonna embarrass him again. But what I can say to Kamden, I can't say to Kennedy.
Right.
And what I can say to Kennedy, I can't say to Kamden. This one right here is super sensitive. You know, I'm getting on her in the game this season. She like, what do you want me to do?
That's what you said. That's how you did it.
Yeah, she was irritating me.
But what do you want me to do? And you know, Kamden can't play right now, so and look, I'm finna give you the story. You know, you give him the story about the kick.
What kick?
When you did the kick on the sideline coming out of halftime. The cheerleading kick.
We was blowing him out.
And what happened?
Okay, I did a cheerleading.
Talk up.
I did a cheerleading kick.
And as soon as she did the cheerleading kick, what happened?
I looked at my dad.
He probably looking like,
hey,
you weren't looking. You wasn't looking.
I put my hands up and I'm looking at Kamden like, man, are we a cheerleader or are we a hooper?
But before I kicked, I made sure you wasn't looking. Before I kicked, I made sure you wasn't looking.
Then how did I see it?
I don't know. You must have looked up right
And
after.
both of them looked right in my face like, oh my God, I hope you didn't see that.
But then I hit a 3, so I was
hey,
like, okay.
hey, but you see how that is though. She like, I'm looking around to see if my daddy looking. So y'all know, no matter what y'all do, he gonna find out, right? We gonna find out.
Hey, tell them about the social media talk. What is it? Tell them how I came in there, because what it is them and their mama got their own relationship, man. I never want to intrude on that, they little talks or whatever. But I could tell they had got the green light on the social media outlets. But so I started seeing stuff pop up on Instagram, and I already see they little TikToks and Snapchat stuff. So I came home on one.
They gonna deny your follow request.
Tell them about it.
I don't remember how I was laughing.
You tell her.
She was laughing the whole time. But it's like, he was like, I like your little dances or whatever, but not the belly rolling and all that stuff. There's some predators outside trying to get you guys.
That's what you said?
I was like, man, there's some predators out there. Man. We not showing no skin. We ain't doing no twerking. None of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting pressure on this one because I know she'll push the envelope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know what she was talking about.
Right. I was going off. I don't know what I was talking about either, but
Yeah.
it sounded good.
Hey, but I gotta publicly say this though, because Reg, you've always you've always kind of acknowledged or celebrated me as a father, bro. And I got to celebrate you, man, because just as an example of what we talking about, man, how you raising your girls, man, and they're beautiful young ladies, man, and they're maturing into beautiful young women. And, bro, it's just, I'm proud of you because, you know, me and you, we go way back.
Right.
I mean, we've shared some intimate moments about our families, our marriages, our children, man, and just to see this come to fruition and the manifestation of it, brother, is awesome, man. And I'm extremely blessed to be connected to you and to this movement and to these girls. Like I said, man, they feel like they grew up just overnight on me.
Right.
I remember when they were little playing with Bryce, and Bryce wasn't no more than like 1 or 2. Now he 9 and y'all 14. Y'all make me feel real old right now. That's because I am old.
And that's indeed, man. It's first of all, I appreciate that, but it's a testament. It's really a testament to all fathers, man, because a lot of times testimonies like this become the minority of testimonies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But this is really the majority of fathers, everyday fathers, man. So that's why we tried to create the platform to get the stories out, to let people know, man, regardless of what society and regardless of what looks like the norm, man, it's a lot of us out there, man. It's a lot of cats who are taking on a responsibility, man, who have gotten to Father Island. They done burnt all the boats. But it's also a platform to hold the other fathers accountable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like having my girls here on the podcast tonight should tell any father, man, you never want to deal with a scenario like this and your kids don't have stories to tell about how y'all battle through that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, man, the energy that it gives me as a father, man, to really celebrate with my girls, man. Like this every day is a celebration right now, man. And that's how people ask me, like, Reg, how did you not go off on the boy? Or how didn't you seek revenge or this, that, and the third? Like, man, it just became a point where as she got out the ICU, as she started to improve, as her limbs started to come back, man, and she started to talk, and as she started to do things, and even with Kennedy, man, the first time I heard Kennedy talk to a counselor and kind of open up, and we went and played the ball game, man, we just started celebrating
Life.
to the point where, man, we couldn't backtrack and be ungrateful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What we had prayed for was happening, and that's not the time to go and be angry and be vengeful and be revengeful. Mm-hmm. Man, we had to celebrate.
And man, even in that celebration, you celebrate not only life, but you celebrating her purpose too. You know what I mean? Because we talk about it, but what was meant for bad, God always turned around for your good, right? And so we know these girls got a purpose in life, man. It wasn't that time, and they have something that they gonna do that's gonna impact not only their friends and their peers or their community or their school, but it'll impact and leave a legacy here, and they're a part of your legacy. And that's awesome too, brother, because when we leave here, our kids is the one that's gonna keep our name going.
And you 1,000% right, man. Because even the platform, it is the father figure movement, and the platform is for fathers and father figures. But the only way that we can become fathers and father figures is through the children, through our children, and through an extension of all kids. But this platform is really based on their testimony.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have my testimony as a father, and I have what I remember and what I went through. But like you say, the legacy is going to be allowing them to, when they quit being scared, to really give their own testimony. You know, just imagine Kenny and Cam sitting in front of a cafeteria or gymnasium full of their peers and kids, man. That's when they really gonna change some lives. That's when they gonna do some things that they'll really understand why you go through some adversities.
Right. So I guess, Reg, as we kind of wind it down, and you can kind of leave us with this, and the girls can definitely chime in. Now that we've gotten to this point, tell me now what it means to you, what it really means to you to be a father.
Man, it means unequivocally being that anchor. Because whether in marriage or whether you're not married or whatever the case may be, you have to be that person that your kids can look to in times of need or because the thing about marriage and women, see, us as men and us as fathers, we can't expect women not to be women.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, especially in times of adversity, man, they are looking to you to be the anchor. So if you have kids with that woman, if you have kids, if you are married, then they are definitely looking at you just like the children to be that anchor, man. So how it makes me feel now, man, is really proud. You know what I'm saying? Like I am super and overwhelmingly proud to say, man, that I am a father, but I am these girls' father.
Yeah.
Because going through that, man, really puts things in perspective. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. On the totem pole of things, man. We in my shops, and you know what I'm saying? And we take things for granted, man. Just imagine, and this is for everybody out there, just imagine having a 13-year-old and you take walking, talking, reading, writing, laughing, jumping, running. Most of us are taking that type of thing for granted.
Yeah.
So when that's taken away, man, it put things in perspective, man.
Yeah.
It put things, I cannot look at either one of them on a daily basis, man, and not just celebrate seeing them.
Yeah. And I asked you that question intentionally because I want to encourage the other fathers out there that we talking about. You built for it. Whether they don't believe it or not, you built for it. It's something that God specifically put inside of you that you got to tap into. Reg is just a tangible example of that. But whatever you got to do, fellas, it's inside of you, man. You got to tap into that, man. You built to be fathers. If I always say is this with me, Reg, is if I ain't purpose to do nothing else in my life, I know two things that I'm purpose to do. To be a wife, not be a wife, but be a husband.
We don't want you to.
No, I can't do that. But be a husband to Erica, and be a father to Bryce and Kendall.
Right, and do you know that? Because if you believe in anything divine, you know you are in that space,
right? And
you're not in that space accidentally.
Yeah.
So before you are the breadwinner, before you are the protector, before you are a husband and a father. And those things encompass all of those things, but those two things are the big umbrella.
Right.
Everything else falls under that umbrella.
Yeah.
So girls, just like Mr. Deonte asked, how do y'all feel on the other side of things? Like, you know, what do y'all feel about looking at your dad every day now that we on the other side of the storm?
1, 2, 3.
Come on,
Right.
Rock, paper, scissors.
She like, you go. They camera
This is a
shy.
very challenging question.
There's not. Like, how do you feel like if when you think back what everything that we had to go through, what do you feel now about me as your father?
This is more of a question for Kamden.
You went through it too.
I know.
Go ahead.
They're like, Dad, well, you know we love you.
I feel like it would feel different not having a dad. What I had, cause like I could still talk to my mom, but like it's different to talk to a man. Cause like
Not just a man, your dad.
yeah, A father.
So you feel more appreciative.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what she's trying to say, Reg. I mean, as kids, we just expect our parents to always be there. And then, especially daddies, we be like, they superheroes. So when daddy ain't there, you be like, that's just foreign to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this whole dynamic, and I'm going to just talk for you for a minute, but I think this whole situation probably for Cam, she probably just feel like, you know what? I love my daddy 100 times over before this happened, but now that we done pulled through this, that's definitely my rock. You know what I mean? No matter what come or what go, I know that my daddy gonna always have my back and he gonna always rock with me. That sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
I told you I knew it.
And man, it's really the message that we trying to send to the world and to all fathers, man, especially the inactive fathers, man. Do whatever you got to do to be active in your children's life, because if not, man, they will miss something.
Right.
Regardless of whether how great they look under mama's rule, and there's some great moms out there that's doing a great job, man, but there is still a piece of the pie missing. Yep. Regardless of how much we normalize things and how much things look okay in a single parent household, they are not okay in a single parent household, man. So fathers, man, we are just here to create a space, create a platform for you to get a better understanding if you're already active, but to get an understanding if you're not active on what it means to be present and not perfect. Again, man, this is the Father Figure podcast. We have the forums, we have apparel, we have the whole movement. But as far as the podcast go, we want y'all to continue to share this thing. We want you to like, comment, but more than anything, make sure you subscribe. Always want to give a shout out to my co-host Deonte, man. I appreciate you.
It's all love, man.
Eternally. Huge shout out to my babies for being on here. I know they were super nervous. They acting shame, but Daddy, thank y'all, and I love y'all. It was rude.
Love you too. Yes. I was gonna say part of my reach.
Oh, sorry.
Or either go around.
Sorry. Well, world, y'all be cool, man. Again, this is the Father Figure podcast. Tune in, man. We'll see y'all again next week.
We out.
Bye.